This week at NASA. The crew of Space Shuttle Atlantis continues its final preparations for its upcoming journey to the Hubble Space Telescope. STS-125 will be the fifth and final servicing mission to Hubble, which scientists hope will keep the telescope in operation through 2014 or longer. Of the 7 astronauts on this mission, no one has more experience with Hubble than mission specialist and lead spacewalker John Grunsfeld. A veteran of more than 37 hours of extravehicular activity, Grunsfeld is making his 3rd servicing mission to Hubble.
This is going to be a very complex mission. It's going to be very hard, and if ever there's a team that can do it, I think you're looking at them.
Grunsfeld and partner Drew Feustel, who's making his first space flight, will conduct 3 spacewalks. The other Hubble servicing veteran, Mike Massimino, will be joined on 2 EVAs by another first-timer, Mike Good. Honoring the past, envisioning the future, was the theme of a gala in celebration of NASA's first 50 years. Some 2,000 guests attended the event at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum's Udvar Hazy Center in Chantilly, Virginia. With the largest collection of aviation and space artifacts in the world as their backdrop, invitees heralded NASA's 5-decade-long commitment to scientific discovery, technological innovation, and space exploration.
One thing that is very enjoyable about our 50th birthday, we're still young enough to be able to interact with those, not only our astronauts, but also our flight engineers, those on the ground who help bring it together. To be able to be mentored and taught by such people has been one of the greatest benefits that I've had.
NACA is to become part of a new agency, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
It was 50 years ago this week, on October 1st, 1958, that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration was established to steward America's space program and help humankind's understanding of the universe, our home planet, and ourselves.
As we pause to mark NASA's first 50 years of inspiration, innovation, and discovery, we see a world without borders from our vantage point in space, a world where the sky's the limit.
The event also featured a congratulatory message from Expedition 17 flight engineer Greg Chamitoff aboard the International Space Station. The evening's entertainment included performances by music icon Quincy Jones, Frank Sinatra Jr., and the Space Philharmonic, conducted by Emile Decoux. Astronaut Leland Melvin was joined by Quincy Jones and hip-hop artist Pharrell Williams for a special presentation to more than 300 Washington, D.C. students. Melvin showed footage from his STS-122 mission to the International Space Station and spoke with the children about being an astronaut.
One of you in here may one day walk on the Martian surface, may go back to the moon and live on the moon. And you can do it if you believe in yourself and you have people that support you.
Jones and Williams gave inspirational talks to the students about preparing for their futures.
Dictionary is the only place where you find success before work. That's only alphabetical. Because, as they say, the cliche is it's 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration.
You design your life, you dream it, and then you figure out the distance between you and your dream. And that's a blueprint. It's that simple.
During STS-122, Melvin took one of Jones's songs, a 1969 recording of Walking in Space aboard Space Shuttle Atlantis. A Pharrell song will be among the cargo when Melvin takes flight on his next trip, mission STS-129 scheduled for next year. The visit by Melvin, Jones, and Williams was hosted by The Ark, a unique arts and community center in Washington's Anacostia neighborhood. The new multi-million-dollar complex has partnered with some of DC's leading arts and music organizations to bring quality cultural programs to its stage and enrich the lives of residents. Expedition 17 flight engineer and science officer Greg Chamitoff was featured in a recent Australian Broadcasting Corporation science show about seed banking. Chamitoff, who once taught in Sydney, brought with him to the International Space Station 4 Australian seed types to see whether they'd be affected by microgravity. A seed bank stores the seeds of food staples and other important flora as a safeguard against global warming and other catastrophic events. Australia is home to 15% of the world's known plant species and almost a quarter of those are believed to be threatened with extinction. The experiment is a joint project of Sydney's Royal Botanic Gardens and NASA. The city of Lancaster, California, paid special tribute to 3 former NASA astronauts. Sidewalk plaques honoring Eileen Collins, Michael Collins, and the late Gordon Cooper were unveiled on Lancaster's Aerospace Walk of Honor. Each plaque denoted highlights of the astronauts' careers, portions of which were spent at nearby Edwards Air Force Base.
Some of his most favorite stories and remembered times were of Edwards Air Force Base, and so I know that that always was a favorite memory, favorite times, good everything for him, and this would just be like coming back home again.
The careers of Cooper, Michael Collins, and Eileen Collins span NASA's human spaceflight program, from Mercury through Apollo and the Space Shuttle. And that's This Week at NASA. To learn more about these and other stories, log on to www.nasa.gov.